Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Rob Motive JT. Today, we are putting a tonneau cover, finally, a lot of you have requested this, on the Jeep Gladiator. I took the roll bar and the lights and all that stuff off. It's time to get going. So, what I have, this is a hard tonneau cover from Rough Country. You can see the number, I guess, here. There'll be a link below if you want to check out price and all that kind of stuff. But there's a few things that we have to do. There is a teeny tiny bit of minor cutting to put these brackets in. Now, where that's going to occur is right here, and they already have it cut out. I think Jeep probably sets this up for a tonneau cover anyway, because you can get them stock or as I guess a factory aftermarket part. I don't know what you call it. But anyway, you have to cut this piece out right here because beneath it are two threaded holes that those brackets I just showed you goes into. So you can do that with just a carpet knife, razor knife, any kind of knife. Just be careful, there is metal behind there, and obviously you want to watch your fingers when you do it. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to cut this out. Again, right across here is all you want, so I'm going to try to do this gently. I think I've already screwed up. Let's get a better angle here. That's better. No, I did not screw up. Okay. I'm going to try to basically outline it with the knife and then just bend it off of there, if you will. If not, then I'll have to go full Monty, I guess, and cut, but I think you can do it that way. Really cuts pretty easily, it feels like. That's it. That pulls that off. So it doesn't take a lot. I'm going to go ahead and do it to the other side. Let's trim this little piece right here. All right, next up, once you have the holes exposed, you want to put these little brackets on. And there are holes on each side. You want the bigger holes on the bottom, and there is a 198 stamping in here. That should be upside down. Just want to go ahead and loosely put these in. Don't tighten them down yet. We'll do that, I guess, a bit later, according to the instructions. Next step is to put the front brackets on. These have a little nub here on the end and then two holes. Not really sure why there's two. There's only one that you're going to thread in, one nut, if you will, that comes with the kit. You use the nub on the end in the top left hole here, and then just line up the hole with the other side, and you want to tighten that down. Again, it comes with the hardware to do that, so just put your M6 bolt in there and tighten it down. And I'm going to use this other hole actually as my point for where I need to put this, because there is some movement, so I want to try to get it in the right spot, and I think that looks pretty good to me. And according to the directions, you want to go ahead and tighten that down. I'm probably going to go ahead and put some blue Loctite on there. There's nothing really to hold this in place. I don't believe, let's see on the screws if there's any. Yeah, they're just flat, so they're not even, they don't even have any nubs on them to hold them in place. So I'm going to go ahead and put some blue Loctite on there. I don't want this to loosen up. I mean, it's already a little bit loose, as you can see. So let's do that, and we'll go ahead and put the other one on the other side the same way. All right, now it's time to put the side rail on. We're going to start with the driver's side. On the back of the side rail, there is, hopefully if yours came this way, a foam cover. This is a nub where the tubing fits for drainage. You just kind of want to twist that thing on there. Now, up in the other side, there are two threaded nubs right here, and you can see the foam seal, I guess, is kind of going over those, and they're covered with caps, I guess, to protect the threads. So you have to remove the caps, and then I would push this foam seal down, if yours came like mine did, so that they clear the studs because those two studs are going to fit into the two holes in the brackets here where you're going to tighten them down. So obviously you can't leave the caps on, and the studs need to be clear of the seal. So I'm going to do that. We're going to get it in place. Up in the front, there are two holes on the brackets that we just put on, and in the rail itself, there are two holes here. These holes are going to correspond with the holes on the brackets, and then we're going to put nuts over these to hold the side rail in place, and that's really it. Pretty simple install. One other thing I do want to point out, if you have the rail system in your truck and you have a rail across the front, you are going to lose that rail. You have to take it off to have access where you put those brackets. And by the way, I did have to trim around the studs here a little bit because the foam protrudes too far. It would cover the studs. So I just trimmed a teeny tiny bit off. Now we're going to go ahead and line it up both in the front on the bracket that you've already installed, and then the two studs, the two studs are back here, and they need to go in this bracket that you've installed in the front. So that's going to be key, I think, in lining this thing up. Now we want to go ahead and put two bolts in the front, the M6 bolts, and then two nuts in the back to tighten this thing down. And they suggest you start in the front, so that's what I'm going to do. We've got the rails on, pretty simple to do. Two bolts there, four bolts up here, two to tighten that we'd already put in, and then two that the studs from the rails themselves slipped into. Very easy to do. The last thing up here before we get to the cover itself is this drain tube. There should be a hole right behind, kind of hard to see, the tie down here. You want to go ahead and just feed that through there, and that's in case it gets any water in the rail. That way it will drain out as opposed to into the bed. Now, one thing I'm going to do before I carry on, we're going to add a couple of tie downs. These I actually got from my buddy Randall, and they were originally for the side rails, but I'm going to repurpose these, and we're going to put them right up here where the bed rail was across the front. If you recall, I had to remove the front bed rail, and that leaves these two tempting holes here to go ahead and put a couple of tie downs in. So I'm going to use the same hardware that came out of them, along with a black washer, and I'll probably paint the heads of these black eventually, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put those in so that we have some tie down points up there. And there you have it, two tie downs. Now, there is one more step that actually wasn't in a lot of the videos I've seen on this, and that is a seal to go across the bulkhead or the front of the bed. It's just a foam seal that sticks on here to avoid water penetration, obviously. So we're going to put that on next, and then I'll be able to carry the top up here and finish the install. Okay, the last part are these clamps. They're pretty simple. The bolt on top slides into this bracket, and then you just tighten them down against the rail over here. There are four of them, two on each side, front and then halfway. And that's it. Now, you can see some light up through there, so this is not going to be watertight, I'm afraid. Anyway, we'll find out once I slam it shut, but got to go ahead and finish the other two clamps, and then we'll give it a test. Okay, let's go ahead and shut it. See if it actually fits. Supposed to just slam it down, right? Okay, that side seems like it's clamped. Not this side. Yeah, that's encouraging. That looks good. That looks good. Of course, everything's new and stiff, so you know. Now, does the tailgate shut? It does, and it shuts right against it. Awesome. Well, I think that's it. I think I'm done. That's the look. It's definitely not going to be watertight. I mean, there's a gap here, and there's a gap there, and up here in the front, I could see light through here. It's not a big concern for me. I mean, I'm not really looking to put anything in there that's going to get wet. I don't like the way this front bulkhead seal is. This foam piece they give you to stick on, you can see it, and I don't really know what good it does, to be honest, unless I didn't put it on right, which is always possible. Fitment wise, it looks good. Of course, it's got to, you know, relax a little bit. It's been folded and stored for who knows how long. They do have their insignia on it. That's probably got to go, depending on how big of a smudge it leaves under there. I like that it's a hard top, nice and sturdy. Once you lock the gate, you're not going to have any problems with anybody getting in here. I know somebody's going to ask me, can you walk around on it? You know, it's aluminum. It's a 6061, I believe, aluminum. I wouldn't walk on it, you know, unless you're, I don't know, 20 pounds or something. So I would say probably not. But again, if you want more detail, there'll be a link below. You can check that out. It may be stated in the company's verbiage. As far as the install goes, wasn't too bad. Took me probably 2 hours to do. Granted, I'm taking my time and filming and adding things for tie downs and all that kind of stuff. They say 30 minutes, I think, in the directions. There's no way, unless you do this every day, and then maybe. But otherwise, you're probably looking at an hour, hour and a half, if you just soldier on through it. I like the quality of it. The fitment of it's good. Like I mentioned, the install was really simple. I don't know how it could be much easier. Not a lot of guesswork. Everything's pretty obvious as to what you need to do. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Particularly if you have this one. I'd be curious to know, is there anything I did wrong with the front as far as that bulkhead seal goes, and water intrusion? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Mod Driven, all about the Honda Civic, sitting out there, and Rob Motive, all about the Toyota Tacoma. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye. Brought to you by ducks that don't quack.